Hi, Chad and Jennifer here with Purple Car Life, and in today's video, the must-haves, the nice-to-haves, and the things we didn't realize we really wanted to have in our new F350 truck. So we're here at camp, and today's video we're just going to run through when we were searching for a truck, when we were truck shopping, what was on my list of must-haves and things that weren't absolutely necessary, but now that we have them, we're pretty happy with them. One of the top three must-have things we wanted was the 7.3 liter Godzilla gas engine. If you watched several of the other videos, we came from the diesel Power Stroke. We wanted to get away from the diesel. We were happy to find one that we had most of the things we looked for in the 7.3 Godzilla engine. So this is the big block gas engine in the Ford truck. Second thing on our must-have list was the long bed. Now, I don't particularly love the look of a crew cab with a long bed, but I wanted the long bed for two primary reasons. One, we're hauling a fifth wheel, so I wanted that fifth wheel further back from the truck to give us more turning radius and not have to have a slider fifth wheel hitch. So having the long bed decreases the chances of the camper making contact with the cab of the bed. Second reason was I wanted the 48-gallon gas tank, which only comes in the long bed version of the F350. Next thing we wanted was the crew cab. So clearly we have the seats folded up right now. We wanted the seats that can fold the platform of the seat up, and we found one that had that. That's so that we can put this nice hammock in here, and I'll put a link to that, an Amazon affiliate link to that down below. But this allows Olive to ride easily in the back of the truck and keeps her hair from getting all over the back of the seat, the base of the seat, and the back of the rear seat. So we're really happy with this. It also needed to have, in order to make this work, the fold flat seating base. So there's a nice storage compartment here that when we're not taking Olive, there's lots of space to store tools and stuff like that. But when we're taking Olive, that all folds flat. This hammock fits in here, and you can see creates a lot of space. When the seats are down and we have passengers, there's also a ton of space for the passengers.
I think though, for the most part, when it's just going to be the two of us, I like just keeping it how it is right now.
Yep, and it'll keep everything cleaner. It was easy for us to get groceries last night. I got my fire extinguisher back here, my straps for the jet ski, just lots of nice storage. Crew cab was on the must-have list in the truck. We would not purchase a truck that was any smaller than crew cab. We like to be able to fit, a full row of people here in the back if we want them. And you can see with this hammock system, there's actually a zipper part that lets me just use one side or the other. So we can have a passenger back here, plus Olive. Lets us haul plenty of people and take Olive with us. And
when you were in that accident and we had a different rental truck of all kinds of manufacturers, I was really surprised that it seems like the Ford has way more space in the back for passengers than any other truck I've been in.
Yeah, we had a Chevy crew cab, a Dodge crew cab, and the Ford F-150 crew cab, and of all of them, the Fords always seem to have more space in the back. Now I know the Dodge Mega Cabs actually have a little bit more space. You can recline the back seats. So here at the back of the truck, there's a couple of things that were on our must-have list. One was the puck system. I didn't want any more of those fifth wheel rails going across the bed of my truck. It made hauling things kind of a pain and made getting the hitch in and out a little bit more difficult. The Ford puck system is really nice. You can see we've got the 4 pucks for the fifth wheel hitch. We also have the gooseball puck in the center of the bed. Nice to just put those covers back on when we're not using them, and it's a nice flat bed surface. The other thing that's back here, you can't really see it, but here on the outside of the tailgate, you'll see it says blind spot radar. I wanted the blind spot monitoring system, which monitors that blind spot behind the truck when you're driving on the interstate and you've got cars on either side of the lanes. Also, if you're not towing a fifth wheel, it monitors the blind spot for when you're towing a trailer. Now, a fifth wheel is a little bit different circumstance. It doesn't let you do blind spot monitoring with the fifth wheel. Another thing I was looking for was this GVWR at 11,500 pounds. I wanted the F350 with that high GVWR rating to make sure that we weren't overloading our payload capacity of the truck with the fifth wheel and all our gear. Another thing I wanted was the My Key and keyless entry. This nice keypad on the outside of the truck. The first vehicle I ever had with that was our last F350, and now I'm to a point where I don't think I'd want to ever live without it. You can leave the truck running, lock all the doors, and whatever, if you have Olive in the back of there or people in the back of there, the truck's locked and secured while still running. The other nice thing is you can lock the keys in there when you're taking the boat out on the water, so there's no chance of you losing your car keys. And then when you get back up to the truck, you just enter in the code, it unlocks, and you can get your keys and start the truck.
You use that even more than just for boating, like if we're vacationing or someplace that you don't want to have a pocket of keys all day long.
Right. Yeah, it's really nice to just be able to lock the keys in there and then use the keypad to unlock it. And you can actually customize that code to anything you'd like to use. So there is a stock code that comes with the truck, but then you can also add additional codes. Two must-haves on my list were cameras. One was this one that's on the tailgate that shows me my ball hitch. So when I'm connecting a trailer, it's not getting in and out of the truck 25 times trying to get the ball lined up with the coupler.
Or having your wife in the back pointing this way.
Yeah, or having your wife pointing left and right. It's really easy from this camera to see that connection point, and usually for me it's just one try now. I'm lined right up and I can drop the trailer right on it. There's another camera I wanted, and that is the camera high mount stop lamp. If you're looking for this on the window sticker, it'll say CHMSL. It's the camera high mount stop lamp. This is the camera that shows me the bed of the truck, which is really nice for hooking up the fifth wheel. I actually honestly don't use it as much as I thought I would, because with the nice roll-up tonneau cover, I can still turn around in my seat and see back here to see the fifth wheel hitch. So for me, turning around, even though it's a little bit harder on your neck, gives better view than the camera light. So this was on my must-haves.
That's how you learned.
Yeah, and I just always learned to turn around and look. Now, if we had a different tonneau cover, like people that have the flip tonneau covers, you can't see the hitch. So then you'd have to rely on your camera. For our application, though, this was on the must-haves. Now that we've had it a little bit, I don't know if I would say it's a must-have, it's a nice-to-have. So here on the inside of the truck, a couple of the must-haves. I wanted the 8-inch sync screen. So we have sync, I wanted sync 3 or sync 4. We got sync 4 in here. So it's nice to have this nice big screen that shows me, like we had talked about, that backup camera. There's the backup camera that shows the ball. It's really easy to connect. I hit the camera button. There's my fifth wheel connection camera. It shows you that nice dotted line, kind of how to line up the camper. And when you're on either one of these, you can hit the plus symbol to zoom in a little bit further and see what's on the bed. What's a little bit disappointing about the bed view is that you can only do it when you're backing up. I thought maybe when we were driving down the road I could hit the camera button, it would show me the bed just to make sure, you know, nothing's blowing around or moving around. But when you're driving and drive, it will not let you view that camera at the back of the bed.
Oh, and the thing you drove me crazy about that your truck had to have, although you never really used them.
So for 17 years, my old F350 had the Upfitter switches down here. I thought I was going to use those, but I never did. And I thought with a new truck, I would definitely use them for extra lights and extra features. So we had to make sure we had 6 of these Upfitter switches that we probably will never use, but it's nice to have them. They're already wired into everything, so if you do want to add something like an air compressor or an air horn, it's really easy to just wire into these switches from the panel down below.
Yeah, because 17 years of you never doing anything with the other truck, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if you
I like to keep my truck kind of stock, so adding extra stuff that wires into the switches was a little scary for me, but on this one I think I'll do it. So everything we've just talked about was on my must-have list. I would not settle for a truck that did not have those things. Now the next list of things are kind of the nice-to-have things. We were hoping that the truck that we found that had all those must-haves might have some of these other things. Thankfully this one did, but I'll go through with you now the list of nice-to-haves.
Although there were 2 major things on your must-haves that we ended up not getting.
So I'd say they weren't must-haves. They would have been nice to have, but we settled for without them.
They were must-haves, and we're still disappointed that we don't have them.
Yeah. Okay. So one was leather seats. We had leather seats in our old truck for 17 years. They held up really well, perfect for taking a dog. We always had the seat covered, but it's really easy on leather to wipe off any dog hair, slob, or anything like that. If you have ice cream and you have a little bit of a spill, easy to wipe it off. Next thing that we really wanted to have was the console. Center console would have given us more cup storage and deeper storage down in. We settled for a truck that did not have that. We still have the fold down front seat, but it's not nearly as nice as having the console with the extra storage and the vents in the back.
And the vents in the back.
Yeah.
And so far, Mackenzie, when we went on the long trip, was definitely not impressed that there's no airflow on the back here.
So if we do truck shop again, those will probably really be on the must-haves, and we won't settle for one that doesn't have
those 2 things, if it wasn't hard to find a vehicle right now,
Yeah.
we probably would have continued to look, because those were 2 things that we really wanted.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you find a vehicle with those two things, usually it's a higher package like your Lariat or your Platinum, which makes the price point a little higher and includes a lot of other things that weren't on our must-have or even one. So on our must-have list was heated seats. So here I'm turning Jennifer's seat on high as she records. But the nice-to-have would have been cooled seats. We wanted the heated and cooled seats, but we were lucky to find a truck that did have heated seats. So on our nice-to-have, and we're really glad we have it, is the navigation. Gives you a nice map view and directions to where you're going. What is disappointing about it is I found that as soon as you connect your phone, it wants to use your phone navigation and no longer lets you use your truck navigation. So that's disappointing, and maybe there's a workaround to that, but I do like having navigation built into the truck. Another thing that's right here above the screen, this is your lane keeping alert system. So I can turn that on and off, and there's a display over here that shows me that the lane keeping is on and off, and then there's a display up above that shows the car kind of cattywampus in the lane there. Now what happens is if I go over a line, there's a sensor in each mirror that tells me I've crossed over the white or the yellow line, and what it does is it vibrates the wheel back to the right direction. So if I go a little bit too far to the left, it vibrates my wheel this way, letting me know I need to pull back over this way in case you start to fall asleep or you're not paying attention. Those things are helpful. The Volt, when we're driving the Volt, it gives us an audible reminder. So it'll go beep, 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 and that tells us that we've gone over the line, we need to come back in. I wish this was not only a feel in the steering wheel, I wish it was also that audible alert.
It'd be nice if you're falling asleep or...
Yeah. So another thing that was on the nice to have list but not a must have was the rear tailgate step, which folds down nicely. It does also include a handle for getting up and down. What I've found is I don't really use the handle that much because maybe I'll need it as I get older, but for right now I'm easily able to step up here and step up here to do the things I want to do in the back. So this was on the nice to have list, but
I would definitely say, just even our few times now that we've been camping with the new truck, I think watching you get up and down out of the back of the truck way more easy. Not that you couldn't get it up and down before.
Yeah.
I just think too, as we continue to get older, that step is something that
so much more convenient to just be able to step up and climb up in than to try to hold on up here somewhere, get your foot clear up onto the tailgate, which is quite a stretch, and then pull yourself up in.
Yeah, why don't you demonstrate how nice it is?
So you can get a nice run for it. You just step up here, and go right up.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Next thing on my nice to have list, but not a must have, was the spray in bed liner. And only not a must have because I could have paid somewhere else to have it done. That we had a full metal jacket liner in our old truck. I know a guy that does those applications. There's also Line-X. So while it was nice to find one that had the Ford spray in bed liner, I would have paid to have that done somewhere else if we found one that didn't have any bed liner. So another thing that was on my nice to have, but I would quickly switch it to the must haves now that we've had it, is these LED box lights. And we're going to wait a couple minutes until it gets dark and I'll show you a video of what they look like. One of the things that was not at all on my must-have list, but now that we've had it, I would never do without, is the bed lights. I thought that they always just did these two side lights, but they also do the top light, which as you'll see is perfect for seeing in the bed of the truck when I have to start the generator at nighttime. Makes it so much better. I can see my step, just climb up in here, start the generator, and I'm good to go. So another thing we're really enjoying after having a truck that was 17 years old is some of the other new technology. There are outside facing lights on both mirrors, so when you're making a left hand or a right hand turn, I can hit a button on my dash that illuminates that area I'm turning into. That's great. But there's also lights underneath the mirror that when you step out at night show you what you're stepping into and give you a nice platform to step on the running board and the ground. So let me show you. As soon as I open the door, you'll see that bright light come on. So you can see, you get out after being in the truck, close your door, nice, really nice illuminated space here where you're stepping out into. On the nice to have list, but I didn't think I'd find it, are the wheel well liners. And we actually found the truck that has front and rear wheel well liners. These are options, but what this does is it provides this nice plastic liner that goes forward and backward the whole way around the wheel well, as well as here in the center. And that keeps, in Pennsylvania, all our salt and slush and snow from accumulating along the panels of the bed forward and back, and then up underneath the bed here above the leaf springs. Another thing on the nice to have is the camper package, and what that does for you is it gives you a sway bar underneath, upgraded shocks front and rear to handle the added weight of a camper on your truck, and that could be a truck camper or a tow camper. They upgrade those shocks and springs to handle that additional load. It may make your ride a little bit more stiff, just FYI.
But you said that was something we didn't have to have because of the F350
Yeah,
itself.
since we were getting an F350, we had the capacity, we didn't have to have the camper package. We did find a truck that had it, so it's a nice to have. So having had a Super Duty for 17 years before, there are these 4 corner tie downs, one on each rear corner and one on each front corner, but 4 tie downs in a truck is not very many. You'll find that oftentimes you need more places to anchor something down or tie a strap to, and only having 4 wasn't super convenient. These new box link systems allow you to add more tie down points on the side of the bed. So now we've had the 4 original, we've got 4 additional, so we've got 8 tie down points, and these are a little bit higher, which makes it nice to hook onto. Another really nice to have thing on this new truck is the connection for our lights for the camper. Now I'm not sure if this is because that's part of the camper package or if all Super Duties have this now, but it's much nicer to have our cord connected here from the camper than down around underneath the tailgate. Another thing that was a nice to have, and certainly now I really enjoy it, is the cab clearance lights. They light up at nighttime and make the truck look really cool and strong and big, but it's also really nice at nighttime when you're pulling into a garage to have that light to know how high the truck is pulling into a parking garage or your house garage.
I even feel though too, like when we were traveling, coming home with it at night in an area that we weren't familiar with, coming out from the restaurant,
yeah,
it seemed like the whole truck was lit up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely a lot of lighting on this. When you hit that unlock button, you're getting all this external lighting underneath the mirrors, lots of additional lighting that makes it seem a lot safer to get into at night. So another thing on the nice to have is remote start from your key fob. You can see on our key fob, we do not have remote start. So unfortunately, the truck we found doesn't have that feature, but that's not a big deal because I can do remote start from the Ford Pass app, and I'll put a screen grab of that app here. What that allows me to do is from anywhere, farther than the reach of this remote, even if we had remote start, I can remote start the truck for 15 minutes and then add 15 minutes at a time. Perfect for not only preheating it in the wintertime, but pre-cooling it in the summertime.
So it does have remote start, it just doesn't have remote start from
the fob. Another thing that was a nice to have, and I'd consider it a must have now that we've had it for a while, if you're buying a used truck. This truck is not brand new, it was used, but we were able to find it with the Blue Oval certified gold package, which means that the dealer has gone over 170 points checking this vehicle out, and they've added a 12-month, 12,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty. Anything from front bumper to back gets covered under warranty. And then it has a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty that covers all things engine and transmission. So finding a used truck with that extended warranty was a huge bonus. And again, that's called the Ford Blue Oval Gold Certified Certification Program.
And you really ended up, you got more of a warranty buying a slightly used vehicle than you did if you would have bought a brand new vehicle.
So hopefully if you're truck shopping, this video is helpful to you. If so, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment down below what's on your must-have or nice-to-have list as you're truck shopping. For us, it's important when we are shopping for something to make that list of must-haves. It would be really easy to settle for a truck that was missing 1 or 2 things, and we're kind of sad that we settled for a truck that didn't have the leather in the console, but we're glad we found a truck that had everything else that was on our must-have.
And when he says he makes a list, he literally makes a list. You know, the top few trucks that he ended up narrowing it down to, we had check boxes of each of the features that he really wanted, what was missing. And while I did tease him a little bit about how much research he was going into, it's really, you know, I know some people change vehicles out all the time. We tend to not do that, and we keep our vehicles for a really long time. So it really is a really, really large investment. And I do think that it's really being a smart consumer, making your lists and figuring out what it is that you're looking for.
And I would always ask the dealership, send me an email with the window sticker. We'd go through that window sticker with a highlighter and highlight the things that were on our must-have list. If it was missing something, we'd note it down at the bottom. And if it was missing something from the must-have list, a lot of times we just pushed it off to the side and told the dealership, well, that doesn't have everything we're looking for.
And you did find a few that were decently priced for the market. that had a ton of really cool features that were in your nice to have,
Right.
but didn't really have much in your must have. And so even though it was a really nice looking truck with all those features, we had to rule some of those out because it didn't have what you really wanted.
And right now trucks go really quickly. So there were a couple times we found a truck that had everything on our must-have list, some of the nice-to-haves. By the time we'd call about it that day or night or the next morning, it was already gone. So when you do find a truck that has all those things that are on your must-have list, again, another reason to have that list already made.
Pre-made before you start
Yeah, so
going
that
and
when you
looking.
start looking at trucks, you can go through that list really quickly, and if it's a truck you want, you can make that decision before someone else buys it.
And that's why we ended up driving 4 or 5 hours to get
Maryland.
to Maryland to get the truck that you wanted. We are not the kind of shoppers that just go out to dealerships and start looking around. I feel like then you get suckered into looking at a particular truck that maybe didn't have all your lists. So I like that you have your lists, you find the ones that have most of the things or the greatest amount of things, and then we go look at it.
I'd say 90% of my truck research and shopping happens online on YouTube and on dealer websites and forums before we ever contact the dealership.
Yep.
So hopefully this video is helpful to you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time. Another nice thing about the F350, one of the reasons I wanted the F350 with that 11,500 pound GVRW, is these helper springs, which are above the regular leaf springs, but these will make contact on our helper spring holders. So when that additional load's on, it's not all just on the main leaf springs, it's also on these helpers. And again, that's only on the F350, and I believe maybe the F250s with the camper package.